Hello there, Commonwealth Realm here. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's launch is getting closer and closer, and after nothing in January, the time has come for Nintendo to at last show more of the game. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell to get us to our May 12th subscriber goal and unlock our giveaway. And now, let's go over what the Zelda team is preparing. As of the upload day of this video, less than 100 days separate us from playing the 20th Zelda game for hundreds of hours, and luckily for us, February has since 2019 been the month of big Nintendo announcements and trailers. Pokemon has claimed the end of the month for their game reveals of the year, but the first half usually brings a lot of announcements and new trailers from Nintendo. With that being said, a lot of the first Nintendo Direct of the year will focus on reveals of other 2023 games. At the same time, these presentations have a habit of ending with Tears of the Kingdom when the new Zelda is present in the Direct's lineup. In fact, every time the sequel has shown up in Directs, so E3 2019, 2021 and the September 2022 Direct, it was the one last thing. So patience is key in these presentations, as Nintendo knows well why most people are watching. Well, this and the hope of a new Mario game reveal. But more on that one in this video in the card and end card. But why February? After all, Nintendo's had presentations in March in 2018 and 2020. Well, I'll give you the answer. Since 2019, Nintendo has aimed, minus the, cursed year of 2020, to host their first general direct of the year in February, as they changed from a more fluctuating one that we saw prior to the release of the Switch. Furthermore, all of these February presentations on February 13, 2019, February 17, 2021 and February 9, 2022 have taken place on a Wednesday, in Japan Thursday. Hence we should expect another one as well beginning from Wednesday, February 8. Seeing that this video was uploaded on Wednesday, February 1st, and we didn't get any Nintendo Direct on this day. Alright, so we got the most likely presentation and weekdays settled. But what about the Zelda news itself? Well, we might be teased about it the day prior, as general Nintendo Directs are usually announced the day prior. The exception from this rule are game-specific presentations and naturally the Tuesday E3 Direct, which is announced a month or two in advance. Though I doubt we will see a dedicated Tears of the Kingdom Direct in February, as April, the month prior to release, is more probable for that. We have to remember that by the time the first Direct of 2023 is expected, we're still around 3 months away from the launch of the game, which limits what we will be able to see in a February Nintendo Direct, primarily when it comes to gameplay following a trailer, since this one is probably better saved for PAX East and a potential booth and demo there in late March. Now that we know what we're not getting in February, let's dive into the realistic expectation, the first 3-minute trailer detailing more of the world. So perfect for us Zelda tubers who can't wait to see new locations, enemies and most of all characters. Believe it or not, but not counting Ganondorf, so either the main or secondary villain of the game, we have not seen a single living non-enemy humanoid character since Zelda fell down the hole. The closest we have been has been this automaton, which might or might not be a target to battle. It just shows that we are less than 100 days away and still we know little to nothing about this game. In fact, I can summarize all we know in 2 long sentences. A continued quest on the surface and a new sky, with skydiving and sky gameplay, time reversal with a new spiritual hand, and seamless movement between the 2 layers. All to emphasize verticality and combinations with the power of green, courage. There, I summed up what we have seen thus far, minus Zelda and Ganondorf, which could be the subjects of this trailer, seeing that they were missing in September. Chances are there, as this could be the time for a proper story trailer, not teasers of it in the first 20 seconds of a trailer, as was the case in the 2021 and 2022 90-second teasers. Or it might just be another combo, seeing that the Zelda team likes to combine a little story followed by a minute of gameplay clips before the text update on the game, delivering a little more information with each trailer. Hopefully it ends here, but I wouldn't put it past Nintendo and the Zelda team to once again pull this move. What I'm willing to predict, however, is that we'll hear our first instance of voice acting from this game in this trailer, possibly from a new character, as they might still want to keep the fate of Princess Zelda a secret if she's alive. If she's dead, however, and like her father a spirit in the sky, then she might as well be guiding us up in the heaven. And this is an interesting possibility that Nintendo could go for. Instead of introducing new characters living in the sky like Jasqreate visualized or actual Zonai spirits, as Ganondoodles doodled, and hence spoiling them before we play the game, we get a reunion with the spirits we said goodbye to right before the true ending of Breath of the Wild, King Rome and the 4 champions who fell 100 years ago. All of them were voiced in Breath of the Wild, and now we could potentially hear from them again. though no longer on the surface but Hyrule's heaven, which would make sense seeing that this new sky layer is soaked with spiritual Shinto and Buddhist-inspired structures, all key to Japanese spiritual traditions tied to life, death, and the afterlife. A trailer like this could efficiently confirm that these sky islands are actually the location of the afterlife and the kingdom of heaven, where those lost went after falling to calamity and malice. After all, King Rome stayed in a spirit form on the surface until his daughter had been liberated, and the champion spirits were trapped in their divine beasts until Link liberated them. Then they stayed around to ensure that Link had their support when facing Calamity Ganon. Naturally, this depends on what the trailer wants to focus on, as we could see a blend of voices from the spirits in the sky and their successors on the surface, in line with the theme of combinations of the sequel. This way, tie Breath of the Wild's and Tears of the Kingdom storylines closer together without spoiling any new characters until a final trailer. Much like we saw with the marketing of Breath of the Wild, where the champions were first teased in the final 2 trailers of the game, Life in the Ruins and the Nintendo Switch presentation. Same went with Princess Zelda, who we only heard the voice of prior to this point, December 2016 and January 2017. The earliest of these less than 3 months away from the release of the game on March 3rd, 2017. Indeed, the marketing of anything past the Great Plateau was very limited for Breath of the Wild until the final 3 months. And interestingly enough, February marks the final 3 months to Tears of the Kingdom, and hence it might break a similar barrier as Breath of the Wild did in December 2016. Perhaps even by introducing a new key character, seeing the cast who ended up being crucial to the Shrine quests was first shown in the world premiere at the Game Awards 2016. Perhaps an equivalent character serving the same purpose will be revealed this February, or perhaps saved for March and PAX East. Either way, what we have been able to highlight over the last few minutes is that at least the trailer marketing of Tears of the Kingdom isn't far behind what we saw from Breath of the Wild prior to its final 3-month build-up to release. Yes, we're still missing the 3-minute trailer, but I believe that February will change that and grant us the first of 2 full-scale trailers to match the 2 trailers of this length that we got of Breath of the Wild prior to its release in 2017. In a way, you could say that the marketing of Tears of the Kingdom could be reset this month by focusing on the Triforce that we detailed back in January. Power being the first 3-minute trailer with voice acting in the February Nintendo Direct, Wisdom being the first proper gameplay session at PAX East 2023 in late March, and Courage being the final presentation in April. The last piece of the Triforce being the one missing in the marketing of Breath of the Wild, but might surface in the Sky Islands with Tears of the Kingdom, the dedicated Zelda Direct. A presentation opening or ending with the second and final 3-minute trailer, which in the case of Breath of the Wild was used to conclude the Nintendo Switch presentation in January 2017. And it also concluded the pre-released trailers for what would become that year's undisputed Game of the Year. February 2023 is made for a new trailer, and without it we should get a little concerned come March 3rd. And well, officially 6 years of the Zelda drought that we have seen with Tears of the Kingdom. And in the worst case, we might go through another delay to say fall, the release window of the year for most 3D Zelda games up to Breath of the Wild. But unless that happens, May 12th is secure. To sum up, everything as we stand, less than 100 days prior to release is going according to the trailer plan that we saw in the case of Breath of the Wild. Without any further delays, we'll get our next Tears of the Kingdom trailer and blowout of news by probably Friday, March 3rd. Furthermore, it will most likely conclude the first Nintendo Direct of the year and be 3 minutes long and could right before or after be followed by the announcement of more gameplay and demo of the game at PAX East 2023 on Thursday, March 23rd. Tune in for a special Treehouse session from here. The reason to believe so is that the game is coming out Friday, May 12th, less than 1 month prior to E3 2023, which is opening on Tuesday, June 13th, naturally with a Nintendo Direct. And that is pretty much all you need to know about Tears of the Kingdom news in the first Nintendo Direct of 2023, and a little bit beyond. But if you want to know more about the presentation itself, then be sure to check out the video in the end card, as this one was an expansion of the Zelda segment of that one to celebrate that we are less than 100 days away from the release of this game. But what do you think we will see this month? Sound off in the comment section down below, and let's get some trailer ideas rolling. If you haven't already, then be sure to share this video by liking it and unlocking our Zelda giveaway by subscribing and pressing that notification bell, also that we can surpass 333,333 subscribers by May 12th. Last but not least, a big thanks goes to all our patreon.com/Comeron patrons, and in particular to our raw producer Charles Shesh. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.